there aren't rules on the lake for everything from the hours, and the speed, and the times that water skiing is allowed and so forth. Who made those rules, and why would it be impossible to include a rule against wakeboards in that list?
Probably wouldn't be, it was made by the town, and the town controls that. But if you look at, I mean, almost half the members of the Protective Association have wakeboard boats. So, I mean, to bust through that is I'm not saying that's a problem, but that's just a fact. And some of the people, that have wakeboard boats have poured a lot of money into them, they're not cheap. And so to get them to agree to anything without a lot of protest is a problem, but you're right, you could put legislation against it. And there's.
The town would, it would be the town that sets rules, not the
The
protective.
town in a number of different areas in the state has banned wakeboarding. They can do it.
What would be the procedure to?
I think you gotta go to the town, everyone goes to the town, make it known. But again, you gotta listen to the wakeboard side of the story too, and listen to their side of it. But you're right, the town could do it. There's some discussion now on banning wakeboards on all lakes less than 1,500 acres. Of course, the Beulah's about half that size. Yes, Chuck?
One of the ideas I had for compromise would be that whenever the biological spawning time is, to ban wakeboarding at that time to enhance reproduction. My strict position is I don't want to wakeboard, but it's a compromise position. You can look at it biologically.
Good point. Yeah, John.
I don't personally have anything against wakeboard boats, but is there any money in any of the budgets, whether it's the management district's budget or the town's budget, that we could do an educational service to educate the people that own these boats? They have a right to use the lake. We can't deny them the right, but they should use their boat in the manner that's the best for the lake. And tearing up spawning areas and throwing a 3-foot wave over someone's fishing boat, that's really not the best use of their boat on the lake. So if we could funnel some money or something into training or education or something like that to help ease the devastation that they're causing.
But I think maybe Tom may dwell on this issue. Tom Bernhardt from the Protective Association is working the exact same thing. And I think he's gonna be coming out with publications on it, but I'll let Tom talk about that.
I can do it, you want me to do it now, or am I up there?
You're up. You're up. It's your turn.
Okay. First of all, we very much appreciate all of the testing that you're doing with the water quality in the lake. That is kind of unprecedented for what other lakes are able to do. So this is really a big asset to be generating the data that we're generating, to be able to understand the changes. Changes are happening across the entire state, all of the lakes, whether it's global warming or changes in other aspects of the environment, acid rain. There's changes that are occurring across every single lake. But our lake still is rated as one of the top cleanest lakes, especially in southern Wisconsin. So we need to continue to work to do that. And we're investing in testing equipment to be able to do other sorts of analysis to build on that database. But we're looking at how we can utilize that information to, for instance, we're having this discussion about the wakeboards, boating. The water quality data can be impacted by wakeboards. And we can scientifically show that it's causing negative impacts to the floor of our lake, which is one of the reasons why we have such a clean lake. So yes, there is work that's being done. Also, you talk about education. We are starting a project with Tim Ellinger, you heard his name mentioned earlier, on doing focus groups to bring all different aspects of a topic together, and we're doing multiple different topics. The first one is of little concern to most of you. It's economic development on this lake. I'm saying that facetiously because that is something that is very important to each and every one of us. So we're going to do focus groups to talk to those that have an aspiration of doing the economic development on the lake, as well as those that live on the lake, versus those that have experience of this on other lakes. And that's starting in September. The next topic after that one is going to be taking on the recreational aspects of the lake, which includes the wakeboarding. And again, it's a big educational piece, as well as data gathering and having those conversations with all parties that are involved. So there is work, as was mentioned by John, being done in this area. Our newsletter is in the mail. It's in the process of coming out real soon. I don't think that this next one has information on it regarding the wake boats, but there is a lot of data that's being generated, and we're planning on doing some stuff in our spring meeting and newsletter to specifically speak to that. And most likely the presenter that speaks at that meeting will be someone that has a lot of expertise on how wakeboarding is affecting lakes across the entire state. Okay, so our next membership meeting is the fall meeting. That's coming up on September 16th from 9 to 11. 23rd. The 23rd, sorry, thank you. I, for whatever reason, did not get an email regarding this meeting, so I did not prep for this, so I'm speaking off the top of my head, so that's why that happened. So I apologize that, and thanks to Terry for sending me an email this morning. I was bass fishing on a lake in northern Wisconsin, and was like, holy cow, I guess I better get back for the meeting, so I'm here.
Thank you.
So that meeting is going to be at the fire station. It's not gonna be in this room because we've outgrown it. So we're gonna try the fire station for the next meeting, and we're looking at some other different venues for next year, but stay tuned for that. Our fish stocking is going to take place in September. We're gonna do something different this year. We're gonna stock fish off of Jesuit Island, and we're going to put fish both on Mill Pond and in the big lake. And it gives us the opportunity to do from each side of the lake. And we're going to be doing crappies, perch, and northern. And the management district, we thank you for their donation towards that stocking program, and also many of the Lake Association members that put additional dollars towards that. Okay. We do have a board meeting that is coming up prior to the membership meeting, and we'll be talking about a lot of the same issues that we're talking about here tonight, as there's a lot that's going on in the lake right now, and there will be updates provided at our fall membership meeting. So with that, I'd like to open it up if anyone has any questions. I thank you for your continued support in supporting our volunteer board, who has been very active in doing great things for the lake. Yes.
I know there was talk about it before, about building a spawning grounds for the walleyes on our lake, getting rocks over moving water. Is that still in the works, or is that kind of fizzled out?
Well, it had fizzled out from the standpoint of the data showing that they're not very effective. So what we're doing is working with the fish biologist to determine, is there really a good location in this lake that would have a high success rate. So he is working and looking at that and getting back to us. So it's not completely off the table, but there's nothing planned at this time.
Thanks.
Why is the association taking a neutral position on this dredging project?
So the dredging project is a huge issue. It started several years back when, you remember, they had the pier that went to nowhere out into the middle of a
protective, sensitive area.
Yeah, sensitive area. So we got involved, and the town, the management district, the lake association, and the DNR all sat down at the table, because the DNR had already given them permits to do all of this and put this in. Mr. Dresden, who was the owner at that time, understood what all the concerns were, but was looking for a solution to be able to get access to the lake. So at that time, there was an agreement by all of those parties involved that they would be able to extend that channel to the property line to be able to put in a pier that would give them access to the lake, but would have minimal impact on that sensitive area and the rest of the lake. That was an agreement that was made by all parties involved. Then what happened is...
Not necessarily all parties.
Which parties weren't?
My party. I'm the neighbor directly next to them, and, you know, it was never discussed with us. We were never part of that.
Talking to the social box.
We understand what your position is related to that. All of the parties that did come to the table were parties that were organizations, DNR specific to the health and the well-being of the lake. So that was what was decided. Nothing was ever done though. It went on and on and on, and then they decided that they were gonna put the property up for sale. And there was a interest in revitalizing that, and a permit was put in for something that was outside of the scope of what was discussed and agreed upon. So we did not have a neutral position at all. We opposed that and said, no, that was not the agreement. What we said is that if the new property owner, or if they were willing to go back to what was originally agreed upon, we would support that because we were part of that original decision. And that has always been the stance. It is a cluster, the whole thing. I agree that the DNR very much mismanaged all of that. And we are having a special meeting with our board. I think that we are willing to support the opposition of it, not necessarily the opposition to give the residents access to the lake, but to go up against how the DNR managed and handled that, and that they are continuing to move forward on something that goes directly against what was agreed upon, which they were part of that original agreement. That's me talking. That's not everybody else talking, but that is the stance. We as a board never said on that topic that we were at in a neutral situation.
I take it back, I watched you in a meeting, planning commission meeting, step up there and say, whoa, we're neutral on this.
You're mixing up meetings. That's the Double D's meeting that you're talking about. That was the one I stood up and I said that we were not taking a stance on the Double D's. It happened a couple of weeks ago. Yes, that was the meeting. That's a completely different topic.
Well, this is the first planning commission meeting. I should say the second one.
We got a difference of opinion, and with all due respect, this is not a LBPI meeting, it's a management meeting, and we shouldn't be giving a report. I know the board of this group, Board of Commissioners, will be looking at what the next step is. I was at that first meeting, and it didn't follow what we thought was gonna happen, so we're open to it. We're opposing it right now. So, anything else, real quick, Tom?
No.
Okay, thank you very much.
In September.
I appreciate, you being able on short notice to come in from a great fishing vacation, and you can go back tonight.
For a long day.
Yes, I'm sure it does. Are there any specific new communications?
No.
All right, thank you very much. Public comments, we generally have allowed some time for public comments, so we will have to limit it, through the hours. Anyone have any specific comment they'd like to make?
Something very quick. The issue that he wasn't informed through his email about the meeting, when we're signing in, those that want to give their email ought to be able to do so, and I think that will enhance communications.
Okay, I didn't hear. Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're always listening, you give us your email and we will put out email blast on anything that,
Yeah, sure.
yes.
I was wondering if there's a spot on your website, or a way to get some written information to figure out the protocol or procedure on the replacement for, as I understand you're gonna be retiring shortly, what's the protocol in order to replace the new chairperson of the Lake Beulah Management District? I mean, I looked around on the website, I really couldn't find too much information regarding what the procedure is, how it's done. How does the public have input or transparency on
As a
it?
matter of record, I'll answer that question here. Matter of record, the bylaws call for after the annual meeting for the board to have a, reorganizational meeting. And from their number, they elect the, chairman and all the other officers.
Is that
They do
voted on?
Once a year.
Is that voted on by the members, or is that voted on by the board?
Voted on by the board. The board picked their own officers.
Okay.
Been that way since we started organization. And it's also per the, Wisconsin statute, that's what we're supposed to.
So was the Lake Beulah Management District formed in 1988, and it was a spinoff of the sewage district? Is that how it worked?
We're a sewage district, and it was transitioned into, wasn't spin-off, transitioned into a management district when they passed laws enabling that and encouraging, sewage districts.
Okay, just
to go that way.
two quick questions. What year was the sewer district organized and formed, and then what year was the management district converted?
I'm sorry, I don't have any
Yeah,
idea.
let's just keep it to public comment.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ron. It's public record somewhere, I don't have it. Anybody else?
Yes, very important. The board would like to thank you for all of your years of service. And so we have a couple of, things for you. And this one is a gift card, and it's a thank you to you and to Wendy for giving up, her time, with you. So hopefully you can go out and enjoy a dinner or something, with it, or whatever whatever you want.
Well, thank you very much. Again. Honor, and I certainly appreciate it. I'd like to have done it longer, but I'm done, Time for other people to go on. Thank you very much. Thank you. Next annual meeting, for 2024 at 7 p.m. East Troy Town Hall. The exact date will be determined by June of 2024. The board itself picks that exact date. Be that as it is, for the last time, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Stan?
So move. I'll second.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, so ordered. Thank you very much.